Hello everyone, welcome Lead School at Home. We have started third chapter of history in unit 4, that is the making of a global world. In that we have studied in the first point, and that first point is the pre-modern world. In that we have studied Silk routes link the world, then food travels, spaghetti and potato, then conquest, disease and trade. Then we have studied second point in this chapter, that is the 19th century started from 1815 to 1914. Then in that we have studied world economy take shape, then a role of technology, then late 19th century colonialism, then Renderpest or the cattle plague, then endangered labor migration from India, then Indian entrepreneurs abroad, then Indian trade, colonialism and the global system. Then we have studied third point in this chapter, that is the interwar economy. In that we have studied only one point, that is 3.1 wartime transformations. Now we will start the next point, that is 3.2 post-war recovery. Please student, put your textbook in front of you while watching this video and be ready with your pen, notebook and pencil. Post-war economic recovery proved difficult, and that post-war economic recovery proved it's very hard to the countries. Britain, which was the world's leading economy in the pre-war period, in particular faced a prolonged crisis. Britain, the country Britain, which was the world's leading economy in the pre-war period, means before the war period, in particular faced a prolonged crisis. Now here one word is there, that is prolonged, and the meaning of that prolonged means to lengthen out. While Britain was preoccupied with war, industries had developed in India and Japan. Means while Britain was preoccupied that war, industries had developed in India and as well as in the Japan. After the war, Britain found it difficult to recapture its earlier position of dominance in the Indian market. After the war, Britain found it's very hard to recapture its earlier position of dominance in the Indian market and to compete with Japan internationally. Moreover, to finance war expenditures, Britain had borrowed liberally from the US. And moreover, to finance war expenditure, Britain had borrowed liberally from the US. Now, meaning of liberally means generous. This meant that at the end of the war, Britain was burdened with huge external debates. And as a result, at the end of the war, Britain was burdened with huge external debates. Now, we will move towards the next paragraph. The war had led to an economic boom. War has taken an economic boom. Now, meaning of here boom means deep resonant town. That is to a large increase in demand, production and employment, and that is to a large increase in demand, production and as well as employment. When the war boom ended, production contracted and unemployment increased. Means when the war boom ended, that time production contracted and unemployment increased. At the same time, the government reduced bolted war expenditures to bring them into line with the peacetime revenues. And at the same time, the government reduced bloated war expenditure. Now here bloated means to swell or puff out war expenditure to bring them out line with the peacetime revenues. These developments led to huge job losses. In the year 1921, one in every five British workers was out of work, and a huge job has losses. In the year 1921, every five British workers was out of work. Indeed, anxiety and uncertainty about work become an enduring part of the post-war scenario, and as a result, indeed, anxiety and uncertainty about work became an enduring. Now here, enduring means lasting part of the post-war scenario. Now, meaning of scenario means an outline of. Now, we will move towards the next paragraph of this point, and in this paragraph, we will see the next situation. Many agricultural economies were also in crisis, and many agriculture economics were also in crisis. Consider the case of wheat producers, and in that agriculture economic crisis, you take the case of wheat producers. Before the war, Eastern Europe was a major supplier of wheat in the world's market. And before the war, Eastern Europe was the major supplier of wheat in the world market. When this supply was disrupted during the war, wheat production in Canada, America, and Australia expanded dramatically. And after the war, this supply was disrupted. Wheat production in Canada, America, and Australia expanded dramatically. But once the war was over, production in Eastern Europe revived and created a glut in wheat output. Means, but once the war was over, then the production in Western Europe revived and created a glut in wheat production. Means output. Grain prices fell, rural income declined, and farmers fell deeper into debt. And grain prices fell down, rural income is also become down, and farmers fell deeper into debt. Now we will move towards the next point of this chapter, that is 3.3, rise of mass production and consumption. In the US, a recovery was quicker. In the US, a recovery after the war was quicker. We have already seen how the war helped boost the US economy, and already we have studied about the war helped boost the US economy. After a short period of economic, now we will move towards on the next page. Trouble in the years after the war, the US economy resumed its strong growth in the early 1920s. Means after the war, troubles happened in the USA, but then growth started in the year 1920s. One most feature of the US economy of the 1920s was mass production, and that growth is happened in mass production. The move towards mass production had begun in the late 19th century, but in the 1920s it became a characteristic feature of industrial production in the US. The move towards mass production had begun in the late 19th century, but in the 1920s it became an characteristic feature of industrial production in the US. A well-known pioneer of mass production was the car manufacturer Henry Ford. Henry Ford was known as the pioneer of mass production. He adopted the assembly line of a Chicago slaughterhouse in which slaughtered animals were picked apart by butchers as they came down a conveyor belt to his new car plant in Detroit. He adopted, means Henry Ford adopted the assembly line of a Chicago slaughterhouse, that is in which slaughtered animals were kept and picked parts by butchers as they came down a conveyor belt to his new plants, that is car plant in Detroit. Now here butchers means a person who kills and sells animal for food, and here conveyor means a person or thing that conveyor. Now here one figure is there, that is figure number 21. T model automobiles lined up outside the factory. See here. Now we will move towards the passage. He realized that the assembly line method would allow a faster and cheaper way of producing vehicles. Means Henry Ford realized that the assembly line method allow a faster and cheaper production of vehicles. The assembly line forced workers to repeat a single task mechanically and continuously, and that assembly line forced workers to repeat the task mechanically and continuously, such as fitting a particular part to the car at a speed detected by the conveyor belt, and that assembly line force workers repeat that task mechanically and continuously. Example has given, such as fitting a particular part to the car at a pace detected by the conveyor belt. This was a way of increasing the output per worker by speeding up the piece of work, and in this way increasing the output per worker by speeding up the piece of work. Standing in front of a conveyor belt, no worker could afford to delay the motions, and standing in front of the conveyor belt, no worker could afford or delay means late the motions, task, break, or even have a friendly word with the workmate. And standing in front of the conveyor belt, no worker could afford to delay the motions as well as take a break, or even have a friendly words with a workmate, means they will not gossip if the conveyor stand in front of the worker. As a result, Henry Ford's cars came off the assembly line at the 3-minute intervals, a speed much faster than that achieved by previous methods. And in this way, Ford's car came off the assembly line at the 3-minute intervals, a speed much faster than that achieved by the previous method. The T model Ford was the world's first mass-produced car. I have told you the T model automobiles in this picture, and as a result, that is a T model Ford was the world first mass-produced car. Now we will move towards on the next paragraph. At first, workers at the Ford factory were unable to cope up with the stress of working on assembly lines in which they could not control the piece of work. And at the first, workers at the Ford factory were unable to cope up with the stress of working on assembly line in which they could not control the pace of work, so they quit in large numbers. In desperation, Ford doubled the daily wages to $5 in January 1914, and as a result, Ford doubled their salary in the year January 1914. At the same time, he banned trade unions from operating in his plants, and at the same time, that factory banned on the trade unions. Now we will move towards on next paragraph. Henry Ford recovered the high wage by repeatedly speeding up the production line and forcing workers to work ever harder. And Henry Ford recovered the high wage by repeatedly speeding up the production line and forcing workers to work even harder than previous. So much so, he could soon describe his decision to double the daily wage as the best cost cutting decision he had ever made. And in this way, he would soon describe his decision to double the daily wage as the best cost cutting decision he had ever made. Means he previously not made that. Fordist industrial practices soon spread in the US, and after some days, the strategy of Ford spread in the US. They were also widely copied in Europe in the 1920s. Mass production lowered cost and prices of engineered goods. Now, meaning of engineer means a person who designs engines, machines, and bridges, etc. Mass production lowered cost and prices of engineered goods. Thanks to higher wages, more workers could now afford to purchase durable consumer goods such as cars. And he thanks to the higher wages, more workers could now afford to purchase durable consumer goods such as cars. Car production in the US rose from 2 million in 1919 to more than 5 million in 1929. And in this way, car production in the US rose from 2 million in the year 1919 to 5 million in the year 1929. Means within in 10 years, the growth has done of 3 million. Similarly, there was a spur in the purchase of refrigerators, washing machines, radios, gramophones, play, all through a system of higher purchase. And there was a spur. Now, meaning of spur means to gush or cause to out. In purchase of refrigerators, washing machines, radios, gramophone players, all through a system of higher purchase. That is on now. We will see on the next page. Credit rapid in weekly or monthly installments, and that system of higher purchase credit paid in weekly or monthly installments. The demand for refrigerators, washing machines, etc. was also fueled by a boom in house construction and home ownership, financed once again by loans. And the demand for refrigerators, washing machines, etc. was allowed fuel by boom in house construction and home ownership, financed once again by loans. The house and consumer boom of the 1920s created the basis of prosperity in the US, and the housing and consumer boom in the year 1920s created a basis of prosperity in the US. Large investments in housing and household goods seemed to create a cycle of higher employment and incomes, rising consumption's demand, more investment and at more employment and incomes means large investment in housing as well as in household goods seemed in the US to create a cycle of higher employment and incomes. Then rising consumptions demand, more investment and at more employment and incomes. In the year 1923, the US resumed exporting capital to the rest of the world and became the largest overseas lender. Now here resumed is there, resumed means to begin again, and here lender means one who lent the money. In the year 1923, the US resumed exporting capital to the rest of the world and became the largest overseas lender. US imports and capital exports also boosted European recovery and world trade and income growth over the next 6 years. And in this way, US imports and capital exports also boosted to European recovery and world trade and as well as income growth over the next 6 years. All this, however, proved too good to last. By 1929, the world would be plunged into a depression such as it had never experienced before. And all this, however, proved too good to last. By 1929, the world would be plunged. Now, meaning of plunge to thrust violently into a depression. Or meaning of depression means low spirits, such as it had never experienced before. Now, next part we will see in next video. If any query is there, please tell your queries, and we will see the next video in next part. Thank you.